Good evening and welcome to Wednesday Night Wellness Live. I'm Dr. Andrew Merrill here at Nightlight Chiropractic, and this is the video that we do each week to bring you the latest, greatest information that our patients are asking about. And this has been a long time coming, I think, but tonight we're talking about pillows, right? Tonight's video is titled Pillow Talk. It's not worth losing sleep over. And we're going to talk about a question that I get all the time. I get this question so often, in fact, I almost feel like there should have been a class somewhere when I was going through school that helped me to answer this question, because I've had to do a lot of study through the years to give patients the answers that they're looking for, which is, which pillow am I supposed to use, Dr. Merrill? How am I supposed to navigate this pillow stratosphere? All these different places I could get pillows, all these different claims about what a good pillow is and what a good pillow isn't. I need to know once and for all what the best pillow is. So this video tonight is going to help you to figure out which pillow is best for you. Before we start talking about pillows, though, we need to go over something that I covered in a previous video, and that's sleeping postures, right? We need to talk about how you sleep, because that's going to help us to determine what pillow you are supposed to be using. So you have sleeping on your back, you have sleeping on your side, you have sleeping on your stomach, and that's what we're gonna go over here first, right? So side sleeping is the most common. It's what we recommend because the research says that it's the best for you. It can help to prevent snoring. It can help to prevent some gastroesophageal reflux if you get some acid reflux at night. It's also the best posture for our pregnant patients. The downside, I think, is if your arm starts to go to sleep or you start to get shoulder issues, right? So if you're a side sleeper and you're on a hard surface or you're sleeping with your arm underneath you, have you ever woken up and your arm's asleep, right? That's the worst, right? Your arm just kind of flops around and it doesn't do anything for you. And that's because you're compressing that neurovascular bundle while you're sleeping. One of the easier tricks to fix that is to actually hug a pillow when you're on your side. That's gonna help to keep your shoulders and your arms in the right position. But side sleeping is what we recommend. So as we're talking about some of this, understand we want you to be sleeping on your side if you can do that, right? So back sleeping on your back would be the second best sleeping position, sleeping posture. Unfortunately, it does encourage snoring just a little bit. A lot of patients can't seem to find a good comfortable position because when you're laying on your back, your mattress or whatever you're laying on has to be extra supportive. And that's to keep the nice curvatures in your spine. So having the right mattress is really important if you're going to be sleeping on your back. And then stomach sleeping, right, would be the least recommended. So we do not recommend sleeping on your stomach. It has been shown that it's bad for your neck because it turns your neck from one side to the other while you're sleeping. It also reduces your spinal curves just a little bit. And this is well documented in the research. And that reducing the spinal curves actually can make you more prone to have disc herniations, right? So sleeping on your stomach, not recommended. I know a lot of people say, well, that's the only way I can sleep. That's the only comfortable position. But the reality is that you should try to wean yourself off of that and find a different sleeping position. It's that important, folks. All right, so which pillow depends on your sleeping position to a certain extent, right? So we'll talk about that pillow in just a second. But I love the research, right? So when you're watching these videos, if you ever go onto our YouTube and you look at all of these 50 videos that we have, or 60 or 70, I don't even know at this point, but there's a lot of videos, and I always go to the research, right? I'm not shooting from the hip here. I'm not telling you my opinion on things. I will go dredge up all the research that I can find to either support or disprove what I'm telling patients, and that happens week to week, right? We're going just by the research to give you not just opinion, but fact and rationale for why we're making these decisions for patients or for you. So the research is tough. It's tough on this subject, right? And I'm going to go over just a couple things that I came across in this research and help you to understand why this is a little bit tougher to navigate than some of the other research, some of the other conditions that we have, right? So one manufacturer, because a lot of the research is just done by the manufacturers themselves, recommends a thinner, softer pillow for sleeping face down, which we don't even recommend, medium support for sleeping on one's back, and a thicker and firmer pillow for sleeping on the side. That all sounds actually pretty good. But what most of the research is comprised of is stuff like this, all right? So this is out of the Interventional Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. I believe it's out of Korea. I'm not even 100% sure. But they took 332 Korean adults, and they came up with stuff like this. Participants who used a regular type pillow had poorer satisfaction on multiple comfort and support factors compared with those who used a functional type pillow, right? We don't even understand what they're talking about, regular type pillow or functional type pillow. Functional type pillow wins, but we don't even understand what we're talking about here. Even when you go into the design, study, and methods of the study, you don't actually get a clear idea of what that is, right? So they also say to reduce neck fatigue, it's desirable to use materials like latex or memory foam that provide neck support. But they didn't say that in the design study where it talked about functional type pillow versus regular type pillow. So that's one of the research things, right? Let's keep going. So out of the European Journal of Physical and Rehab Medicine, it said polyester is better than latex. That's like the end conclusion of all of the research that they did was that polyester is better than latex. All right, let's keep going. Viscoelastic polyurethane pillow could benefit the treatment of chronic neck pain. That's from Health SA from South Africa. So now we have 3 different research studies that don't even use the same metrics to determine what we're talking about when we're looking at the research, right? It's a mess, and I can't really use this research to come to a conclusion on what your pillow should be made out of, right? So that's the bad side, right? That's the downside. That's the negative aspect of what we're talking about when we're talking about pillows, because there's a lot of stuff that we know. And so here's the recommendations that I give to patients, and here's the recommendations that you should actually follow through on, right? So first, you need to figure out your sleeping position. And if you don't know, it's easiest to ask your partner. But if you don't have a partner, or if they're not willing to tell you what position you're sleeping in because they're tired of jabbing you if you're snoring, you can get crafty, do whatever you need to do to figure out what position you typically sleep in. If you're waking up in a certain position, that's probably a good place to start too. Second, you need to get yourself a sleep tracker, right? Either a Fitbit or a smartwatch. I mean, a lot of the more expensive beds actually will give you some of the sleep research and some of the metrics on how you're sleeping each and every evening. Whatever you can do, but you need something because you need to be able to test, right? Testing for how well you slept is better nowadays than it has ever been before. It's not just, oh, I felt great today, or oh, I didn't feel great today, because there's a lot of other things that go into that. Get yourself some kind of sleep tracker before you start doing some of this other testing with pillows. Otherwise, you're never going to know what worked and didn't work. Just saying, oh, I woke up great one night and I didn't have pain one day is not a very good way to test some of this stuff, right? So third, we want to test. We want to actually change our pillow from whatever it is. So the research, everybody agrees that you're supposed to wash your pillow every 2 weeks, right? And then everyone agrees that you're supposed to change your pillow every 2 to 4 years. I can't tell you how many patients come in and they're like, what pillow should I be using? And I say, what pillow are you using? And they say, I don't know. I say, how old is that pillow? They say, I don't know. It's old, right? From high school, maybe. Right? Everyone's got, so I get some things in here. People are asking about body pillows, not really for sleeping on underneath your head. People are asking about favorite pillows. That's great, but it needs to be replaced every 2 to 4 years and probably washed every 2 weeks, according to the research. So when you're changing it up, right, you want to find a pillow that you can test. I actually like the MyPillow. I have a few MyPillows because they're kind of adjustable just a little bit. I wanted to show you a pillow that I just dragged out the bed. You can tell that I'm not just making this up because it's totally wrinkled. It's horribly wrinkled. And I want you to see how thin this is. So I'm more of a back sleeper, and this thing is like paper thin when you crush it all the way down. And it works for me because I sleep on my back. Now, for a lot of our patients, we're actually recommending this Decor pillow. I like it, but I don't love it, so I'm not actually pushing it here this evening. But I want you to see how much bigger it is, right? It's designed for side sleepers, and this thing is solid, 4 or 5 inches across maybe. And what it is doing is helping to keep good posture between your neck and your shoulder when you're sleeping on your side. Again, we don't recommend sleeping face down. If you're sleeping face down and you want a recommendation for sleeping face down, this is the wrong video, because I recommend that you change your sleeping posture before you change your pillow. So keep in mind, while we're doing some of this testing and changing out pillows, the name of the game is sleep, right? Certainly, I love when you wake up and you feel your neck feels better, your back feels better, everything else. But it can't be at the expense of sleep. So one of the things that Dr. Bass, my associate doctor, and I talk about here in the office a lot is when we're correcting pillows, when we're trying to help somebody's posture in the evening while they're sleeping by changing out their pillow for one of these guys, we don't want so much discomfort for the sake of correction, right? So sleeping posture, really good, really important, but getting sleep is much more important. If you look at all of the research put together for sleep, it easily outweighs any amount of comfort that you might get from different sleeping postures and sleeping patterns. So that's where we're going to use our sleep tracker to make sure that we're not feeling better at the expense of sleeping worse, if that makes sense. If you have questions about that, you can either hit me in the comment section or Dr. Merrill at nightlightchiropractic.com. Let's see, what else was I going to say here? I think that's it, right? So get out there and get tested. Get yourself a sleep tracker. Figure out which position you're going to be in. I recommend replacing your pillow, right? It's the second week of a new year. You probably haven't replaced it. I haven't replaced it. God, I don't know how old this thing is either, but it's super wrinkly and it's probably time for a new one anyways. But get out there and get testing, because that is going to allow you to figure out the pillow that's best for you. Not what pillow I think is best for you, but what pillow actually works the best for you. So again, if you have more questions, you can find me, Dr. Merrill, at nightlightchiropractic.com. You can find all of our old videos on our YouTube channel or on our blog, which is nightlightchiropracticonline.com. Otherwise, I hope you're in the middle of a fantastic week. It's crazy out there, folks. If I could help you to sleep just a little bit better in today's crazy times, I'll take it. That's a win for me. I hope you're weathering the storm here all right, and your year's off to a great start, and you're in the middle of a fantastic week. I will see you next week for another Wednesday Night Wellness Live. In the meantime, hi, Kathy. Have a great week. Be healthy. Good night.